secondary market post.
I feel like if you're going to talk trash to somebody, maybe don't talk trash to an admin.
I know. A moderator? Yeah. I saw that.
Hold on, I missed that.
Yeah.
I just saw it like 2 minutes ago.
Yeah, and it's well, long story short, I had a friend go to Kentucky this weekend, and he got me a Fitz 14, and he bought himself one and said, "Hey, you mind seeing what you can do for it?" So I'm like, "Sure, no problem." So put one up, and somebody's like telling me that I shouldn't be flipping bottles. And
yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah, you can hear me now?
Yes,
we can. Yes.
See, I had the off button on.
Brilliant.
God, Fred.
Yeah,
it's going to be an important one.
Yeah, well, you know what?
Returned it to Amazon.
Fuck you, cocksuckers! I want to drink some birthday bourbon.
And this is Josh that just joined us. Hey, Josh, how are you?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, man.
Josh, how's it going?
So, anybody that was not aware, so Josh is the. Are you one of the producers on Bullitt County?
Producer. Yep.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Like the producer, or are there multiple producers?
The producer. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, that's
there's a lot of other there's a number of other people that are producer in title, but I'm the one that actually
did the producing.
Yeah, exactly.
If not, he's
did
just
the actual job.
He's just going to take the credit while he's on the camera.
Pretty much.
I prefer to be one of those guys who doesn't do a whole lot, but
Thanks on the credit. Sounds like an accountant.
I want to be in a name only. Actually, so I almost had a video go viral yesterday at the Jaguars game.
Oh.
Did anybody see? It was on Barstool Sports. It was a bunch of places, but the guy get knocked out at the Jaguars game.
Yes, I did.
So I was 2 rows behind him, and I had put him on my Instagram stories because they were like I thought they were about to fight. Then it all calmed down, and everybody stopped. Security came in. I ended up walking to the bathroom, and my buddy texted me and was like, "The bald guy just got knocked out." Well, then I start getting all these messages from people that saw my story, like, "Hey, is this the same guy from Barstool?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it is! Dang it!" Completely missed it. I was wearing a Bourbon Pursuit T-shirt with a Pursuit. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, "Damn, there's our chance."
That would have been ideal.
They only got what, like 80 million followers or something.
Yeah, exactly. I think I had a Bourbon or hat on. No, I would have really thrown that up in the background had I known.
Oh no!
Yeah, I saw that video on Live Leak today. It's too bad you could have been a live leaker.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure one of my buddies' heads is in the background of that video.
Cool. So Fred's getting lined up here. So we're pretty much damn on time. That's crazy.
Sweet. First time ever.
Yeah, I just put the link into the group chat right there for anybody that wants to see the live chat that's gonna be happening on. We got almost 30 viewers on right now.
Hey guys.
Hey Fred.
I was talking to the 30 viewers.
Oh,
He's already said hi to us.
Sorry.
He doesn't care about us.
Yeah, I'll go crawl back in my hole now.
We're here for you, Fred.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I wish you were here earlier when I was having all these problems. Apparently, all I had to do was turn the on button.
That'll get you, man. Tough out there.
So, what we'll do, since Josh is with us. So, Josh, how do I pronounce it? Redford? How do you want to say your last name here?
I'll respond to anything, but generally Riedford.
Riedford. Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna phonetically put this as like REED, just for myself.
I knew a drug dealer in college with the last name of Riedford. It worked out really well because he was like, "Hey, reefer here, Riedford."
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty good name,
Did you ever sell drugs?
I did. But you would be amazed how many times
he is doing a movie on Bullitt County.
Oh, that's right. Right. Well, so you got some drugs in you.
Oh yeah.
Hold on, Ryan. Start talking again. What does your hat say?
Blue Note Bourbon.
Oh, okay. All right. I did get a sample of that. Are you like all in on it now?
No, I just picked it out of the closet.
No.
I got like 30 in there. I was like, this one looks good for tonight.
It says bourbon on it. That works.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll kick it off. We'll have a Josh, since you've never been on here before. What we do is we'll kind of kick it off. We'll talk about introduce ourselves really, and then what we'll do. I think the first kind of topic is we'll just kind of talk about basically this was supposed to be like Sober October or Mocktober or something, but I don't think anybody really around here pays attention to that. And then
I do.
Okay, well, one person did. We got 1 out of 7. That's not too bad. And then what we'll do is we'll talk about Bullitt County, probably 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes. And then
I'm originally from Bullitt County, so this should be good. Yeah, from Shepherdsville.
Are you trying to disown Bardstown now because everybody knows you're from Bardstown?
I know. It's like he chooses when to.
Whenever the topic's popular, I pick the town I'm from.
Just like NCAA basketball season.
I was born in Shepherdsville, but shortly thereafter moved to Bardstown. So.
But we'll talk about the film for probably about 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll probably end up just switching over to some other general bourbon topic, just however it kind of flows. And then from there, it's your choice. You can stay on or drop off, whatever it is.
Okay, cool. Very cool. I'm always down to, even if I'm not saying anything, I love
Oak Reefer.
Listen about bourbon, anything like that. So, yeah.
Cool, man. Sounds good. With that, y'all ready to get this thing kicked off?
Let's do it.
All right, 40 viewers on, so let's go ahead and do it. Welcome back to another episode of Bourbon Pursuit, the official podcast of bourbon. Kenny and Ryan and Fred here with a good majority of the Bourbon Community Roundtable, plus another special guest. And this is gonna be a fun one because we've started kind of branching out the podcast a little bit in regards of some of the people we're talking to. It's not just all bourbon focused anymore. We're talking to some people that are in the industries, if you will, or have some sort of ties to it. And it kind of brings it all full circle. So we're getting some guests that have some touches and some ties with bourbon, but it's going to be really fun and kind of interesting to talk about this. Fred or Ryan, have you had a chance to kind of look at the trailer for the show or the movie that we're going to talk about tonight?
I know Ryan was really excited about it because he's from Bullitt County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about it
briefly from Bullitt County, but that's why I'm very excited.
You were born there and slapped on the ass and then moved to Bardstown?
Yeah, they're like, more opportunity in Bardstown. Let's pack our wagons and go south.
Just hit the old dusty trail, if you will.
That's right.
So, as usual, before we kick this off, we're going to go around the horn and let the bloggers that have joined us introduce themselves. And since there is somebody here that is fresh with a brand new article this week, first time in over a year, Carrie, Suburbia, how are you?
Yeah, actually wrote a non-review article for the first time of the year. Thank you. I know you guys were waiting a long time. I felt the love for it.
I kept hitting refresh on my Suburbia,
I go every morning. So 372 days in a row, I've just gone there with nothing new. And
I looked at the template for my website. I think I still have the original 2-color template, so maybe I could upgrade the website a little bit. I need a little graphic design if anybody out there wants to work for free.
You'd be amazed how many people work for whiskey. So
that's true. I could send them.
Pappy you got.
Blog is suburbia.com, SUBOURBIA, and I'm mostly on Twitter at bourbon_gamer. But I did just learn how to do the Instagrams, so I'm doing a little bit on the Instagrams here and there, so you can find me on there at bourbon_gamer. And as usual, I'm on the Bourbon R Facebook group.
That's a good way to introduce Blake there, so go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, so I'm Blake from bourboner.com. All the social media is BOURBONR. Post reviews, videos, and also sealbox.com for all your craft spirits. I like to get names that it's really hard to say and people always spell them wrong. So sealbox is SEELBACHS.com.
Like the hotel, right?
Exactly. But not trademark infringing on the hotel. They don't have online retail. So nice try. Not like the hotel.
So count one for the home team there.
Yeah.
All right, Jordan.
Sure. This is Jordan. I'm one of 3 guys from BreakingBourbon.com. You can find us at Breaking Bourbon on all the social media and on Patreon. Also sign up for our newsletter, and you'll see all of our calendar updates. And it's a busy time for the calendar to be updating this fall season.
Hey, Jordan, congrats on your marathon finish or mini.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
All right, nice job. Where'd you go? Chicago?
No, we did Baltimore, state number 26.
Nice.
Yeah.
You want to explain to people what you are actually trying to accomplish?
Yeah, sure. So me and my wife are
Die.
doing.
He's
I'm trying to. I've only been to one state though.
We're doing a half marathon in every state. So good way to see the state or the states. Good way to try a bunch of different local whiskeys too.
Let me know when you come to Atlanta. I'll point
I
you
will.
over those houses.
Have you done a Florida half marathon yet?
We did Florida already. We did.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, I'll do Atlanta. I'll hit up Carrie's bunker. Then I'll just drive on down
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Florida and we'll just go from there.
Quick 6-hour trip.
Perfect.
Just
Harry will
run
probably charge you to stay with him.
Just run it the entire time. You'll be.
Hey, I'm not from Bullitt County. You are.
And since we are in October, this was something that I found really weird. You saw some people like take these pledges on Facebook and different things that it's supposed to be sober October or Mocktober, and people were making these mock cocktails. But I don't think that anybody around here really followed along with it. Any of you all?
Well, tonight I am. It's just water tonight.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know what that says about my friends group on Facebook, but I haven't seen a single post about sober October.
Well,
And,
being in the trade for covering this business for a long time, we've lost a lot of like bartenders in the last like couple years, for mixing drugs and alcohol for various things. But it's a kind of it is kind of something serious that the industry is trying to push. But it's an uphill battle, because people, I feel like people, we should be talking about personal responsibility versus like abstinence, which is, that's the same level of effort that got us prohibition. So it's kind of, to me, the whole thing is weird, instead of like, my thing is like, instead of drinking 4 a day, maybe don't drink one day and drink one the next day. And, you don't have to be laying next to a trash can every weekend like Ryan does.
moderation goes.
Moderation.
Yeah.
That did happen.
Way to make us feel bad there, Fred.
So who is pushing it though? Is it the industry that's pushing it, or like the bartenders guild?
So
or?
at Tales of the Cocktail, William Grant actually threw a party where there was no alcohol. So like the opening party was all about not drinking. And people were like, you had bartenders there were like, what the fuck? And then you had other ones like, oh my gosh, that's so progressive. That's exactly what we want to be doing.
And then 20 minutes later it ended.
Well, actually, no, like the people who were saying it was such a wonderful thing, you would find them at like the Monteleone at the Carousel bar, like, drinking like
Pounding Sazerac.
pounding shit. So it was, I think if you're at a drinking convention, I think it goes without saying there's going to be some consumption. So, but I don't know. We got to figure something out. It's, alcohol is definitely our friend, but you got to respect it. And and for whatever reason, we've never been able to find that, nice balance where we can say, as a populace, we can't educate people, right? So we have to ban it. And so you actually have a lot of efforts to ban alcohol advertising in this country, to ban, even just talking about it. You have the health nuts who are saying that alcohol is the reason why we're all dying of everything, which is not true. So it's a tough time right now.
I mean, I could have sworn not too long ago there was a study that said like a glass of wine a day or a glass of whiskey a day actually makes you live longer. But I think there's a lot of those cuckoo sort of things that out there.
It's like that's like carbs are bad, carbs are good.
So I think our next
Fats are
episode,
good.
my next blog article that I'm working on is actually about the health.
Due out in 2030.
Yeah.
It's the health benefit of bourbon. So the next time we're going to talk about that bourbon is actually healthy.
Well,
And
tread very lightly there, my friend. Be
Why?
very careful. Yeah, but just
Making
because,
claims?
that's one where the Federal Trade Commission will actually, police that shit. So
Hopefully I think in front of everything I say.
I don't think it'll be
yeah, you'll need like you just want to be able to back up everything. So like
Very large disclaimer.
I feel great. That's what I'm going to say. I drink every night. Look at me. I mean, I drink every night and look like this.
You can do the before and after photos. Like, this is before I drank a fifth, and this is after.
Yeah, when I gained 30 pounds, yeah, we'll go back to my high school picture.
Yeah. But I'm happy to do that for you if you like.
Yeah.
Make sure you don't cross any lines.
And smokes a full pack of Marlboro Reds while he's at it too.
Snorts cocaine.
Yeah.
For God's sake.
Sounds like a hell of a time.
Let's keep that party going. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to talking about our guest tonight. So
Thank
tonight, we got to talk to something more exciting than that. So tonight we have the producer of a new film that is now making its way out. Called Bullitt County. We have the producer Josh Riedford. Bullitt County tells the story of four friends who reunite for a bachelor party in the fall of 1977 to hunt for buried Prohibition money on the Bluegrass Bourbon Trail, only to become ripped apart by greed, corruption, and murder. It's a winner of 6 Best Picture awards from film festivals nationwide. And if I'm good enough, maybe I'll slice in a little preview here in the podcast when it is released. But I want to say, Josh, welcome to the show tonight.
Thanks so much, guys. It's great to be here with you.
So,
Thanks
Josh,
for coming.
yeah, absolutely.
Here's Josh.
So before we kind of dive into the movie a little bit, do you have a fascination with bourbon? I mean, you wanted to come on a bourbon community roundtable, so let's hear it.
Yeah, well, I have never I wasn't always a bourbon drinker. It kind of was something that myself and my writer director partner David McCracken we sort of just kind of stumbled into. That's probably 4 years ago, maybe. He was working on another film that involved a lot about the bourbon industry, and so he was living in LA at the time. We're both actually from Southern Indiana, so we're kind of like right on the fringes of bourbon country. And so he was coming back to do some research and invited me to come along. And so we just started hitting up as many distillers as we could. And I went into it very hesitantly. I had some bad experiences with, bad whiskey in college, as I'm sure a lot of people did. And so, but I really kind of just came to fall in love with just bourbon as a drink and bourbon as a culture and just everything about, the history of it. And it's just like there's such a pride about bourbon, both in Kentucky specifically, but also just with our country. It really kind of defines a lot of like the American culture and like the heart of America. I don't know. So I just kind of really, really fell in love with it, and David did as well. And so when we were pitching ideas for what we wanted to be our first film, it was kind of loosely based on our travels on the Bourbon Trail, and that's kind of where all this came from. So yeah, now I'm kind of hardcore bourbon. That's like my go-to thing these days.
Well, good, you'll fit in, not a problem.
Perfect.
Welcome to the crowd.
Thanks.
So was this the first film that you said was based off bourbon, or was there one prior to Bullitt County?
There was one that he was writing for a guy who I think he was also from Kentucky originally. He also lives in LA now, but he had hired David and another guy to write a script for him, and I don't actually think that film went anywhere. But this Bullitt County is the first one with David and I's production company. So yeah, this is our first one.
So kind of give a little bit, I kind of gave maybe a little bit of the premise of the show there. Kind of talk about, a little bit more about the movie, what the film, what people can expect and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'll give the big disclaimer that I think some people like to yell at us about. One, we didn't actually shoot anything in Bullitt County proper. We shot a lot around it and, near it and things that look like it. But there is unfortunately not anything that actually takes place in Bullitt County. And a lot of that really just has to do with we wanted to shoot at some distilleries. And everybody drinks bourbon these days, and all of the distilleries are working their asses off to keep up with production. And so to let a full-on film crew come in for a week, it wasn't hard.
Nobody was shutting down production so you could come in and film.
You
You
can
know
imagine
Mila Kunis was with you?
What's that?
Did you tell him that Mila Kunis was with you? Because
that probably would have gotten some doors open for us. Maybe next time.
Oh, she just called out this morning. Sorry, guys, it's just us.
Damn it! Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And then the other one is that a lot of people like to call bullshit because there's no such thing as a bluegrass bourbon trail, and especially not in the 1970s because the bourbon trail is kind of a newer thing. So that is not a shortcoming on our part. We actually did know that there was no such thing, but it just works narratively, and it's kind of our homage to the bourbon trail. But yeah, so that's kind of where the whole story came from. And as you mentioned, yeah, it's this kind of, it's partly thriller, but it's also kind of just like we based it on a lot of 1970s films that we liked, like Easy Rider, where the whole first part of the movie is just kind of this fun romp with these friends that are going to bourbon distilleries as part of a bachelor party. And so the first part of the movie is just fun. And then, like you said, they kind of hear about this legend of buried prohibition money that's supposedly hidden out in the wilderness of Bullitt County, and they go off in search of that. And
forest.
Yeah, exactly.
Do they take a detour by Ryan's birthplace in Bullitt County? Can we confirm or
stops?
It's in the reeds of Dog Creek.
It actually takes place in his childhood home.
I'm actually in the movie.
The movie is loosely based on Ryan's life. He's actually 74.
Exactly. So why'd you choose Bullitt County versus like Nelson County or Fayette County, where I guess most of the distilleries are?
Sure.
Well, I guess Jim Beam is technically in Bullitt County, but...
Yeah, no, we get that question a lot, and it's just because the name sounds the coolest, and it's got that double meaning of bullets, and since that plays in pretty heavily, and yeah, for people that aren't really necessarily familiar with Kentucky and all of the counties, I think it's one that it's just got such a strong name to it.
The Bullitt family, who owns Oxmoor Farm here in Louisville, that's, I guess, named after their family.
Okay.
Bullitt
Yeah,
County.
I thought I remembered that from some of our research. It's their fictional ancestors play a role, but
Very cool.
Yeah.
I just watched half the trailer. It does look like a scary movie, but looks awesome, man.
Thank you. Thanks. Yeah. It's got some scares in it for people that like the suspense. But it's also just it's a lot of fun too.
I just thought it was going to be like Ryan and his parents, like
shackled up or something.
Ryan should have never mentioned that he was born in Bullitt County. We're way off track now.
I know.
So what's is there official release date yet?
Yeah, it actually it comes out in theaters this Friday, October 26th, and it's playing in I think it's 8 cities nationwide, including Louisville and Cincinnati. That's in that neighborhood, and then also Evansville in southern Indiana, and then a lot further. And then depending on how that goes, we'll try and branch out some more. If it doesn't make it into a city where near you, it comes out on VOD and DVD at the end of February.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
How does that work? So they kind of do a test in 8 cities, see how it does. If it does well, more theaters pick it up.
Yeah, basically, for a film like this that doesn't have any huge stars in it, they kind of do a testing at the beginning, and so we kind of had the option of anywhere from 5 to 20 theaters, and just with the amount of effort that it takes to try and do advertising and promo stuff in a bunch of cities, we kind of kept it pretty small. But if it does really well, yeah, they can expand it into more and more markets, and the sky's the limit. We'll see what happens.
So, a legal question for you. You chose to use the Bluegrass Bourbon Trail.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky Bourbon Trail is a trademark term, and I know that movies still have to get trademark approval. Did you get any kind of did you talk to the owners of that trademark, the Kentucky Distillers Association, or anything like that?
We did. We had conversations with them very early on, and that's why we ended up calling it the Bluegrass Bourbon Trail, so that we wouldn't be, infringing on either the official Kentucky Bourbon Trail or the craft Bourbon Trail. We wanted to stay away from that, and they didn't really have any problem with us making the movie. It was more of they didn't want us using the Kentucky Bourbon Trail to help promote the film, and so we've tried to stay away from that as much as possible, even though we want to. It is our homage to it, because we have nothing but love for for bourbon and the trail and everything like that. But just when you start, what's that?
Cross.
What's that?
I said, and if you would have used it, those lawyers can be expensive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So it's easier to stay out of that mess.
Well, it's probably a smart idea to do that, because if all of a sudden it is associated with that, and you're like, honey, let's go on our next trip to the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, and she's like, hold on, greed, corruption, and murder. I'm out on this one. Exactly.
I mean, obviously, our hope would be that it really takes off, and it, because I think if you're not either a really, really hardcore bourbon drinker, or you're not from the area, I think the Bourbon Trail itself is not known in wide circles by just the lay person, because we've mentioned it before, and people don't really know what we're talking about. And I think in our ideal world, this would make people more aware of it. So we tried to play the game as well as we can to get people to know about it without being overt about it.
Talk about who are your stars? You had said you don't have any major stars, but
hello.
Talk them up. Who are your actors and actresses?
Yeah. So the lead is a guy named Mike Nelson. He's actually from Indiana originally. He works out in LA now. If you've watched the show Blackish, he plays Nurse Larry on there. He's kind of a recurring character. He's also been in, I don't know, probably 3 or 4 Geico commercials. You would recognize his face. But really, really amazing guy. Comes from a comedy background. David McCracken also plays one of the leads. He's also happens to be the writer, director, and my business partner. He's kind of always been attached to the project. The one that I think that people probably would recognize by face, if not in name, is Richard Reilly. He plays the elderly gentleman in the film, and if you've seen Office Space, he's the guy that makes the jump to conclusions mat, and he's been in 300 films. He's kind of all over the place, but he was fantastic. Came in for a week to shoot out all of his stuff. It's just a really, really neat guy.
Well, listen, I want you to know that I can grow a beard for any role, and I would work great with Mila Kunis or Jennifer Gardner or any of those people.
Who's Jennifer Gardner? Is that Jennifer Garner's sister? Or
I was going with what's the other one that she was in Passengers, and the one where she shot kids with bow and arrow and stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence.
Way off. Samsonite.
Gary, that's a Louvillian, so tread lightly on what you say about Jennifer Lawrence.
Okay.
Josh, I bet you didn't. When you think you were coming on here tonight, you didn't realize that we were just trying to plug you to try to get roles in your next film.
I had no idea what I was walking into.
Yeah. Josh is gonna go back, and his business partners will be like, how'd it go? Movie
that was a huge mistake.
Going well? He's like, no. Why did I say yes to that?
Look, guys, I know where Ryan grew up, though.
Yeah, right.
The truth revealed.
I'm basically going to come away from this having the full cast for Bullitt County 2 already.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm the lead man. I'll go.
as long as Carrie dies first.
Yeah.
But I want to really.
Blake's the bachelor.
Me and Kenny are going to play twin brothers, and
I can be the couple that gets attacked first, but can I just be a good couple?
So quickly talk about some of the awards that it's already won.
Oh yeah. So I think, like you mentioned, we've gotten Best Picture at I think 6 festivals now. including the Macon Film Festival down in Georgia and the Catalina Festival out in California, and several others. So that's been really cool. Oh, we also at the Hoboken Festival up in New Jersey, we got Best Director, and Mike won for Best Actor. So it's gotten very, very positive response from people, and hoping that after this theatrical release, maybe we can lock down a few other critics awards come award season in December and January. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, congratulations. Another question about this, you were looking at bringing bourbon into this. I mean, do you see bourbon coming more and more into your field as being not a center of a story, but somehow focused around the story? Because you had mentioned that you would work on another film that people are writing focused on bourbon. So you probably have more exposure to this than we do.
I definitely think that it's something that's coming across people's radar in the industry, and whether it's films that are specifically about bourbon or just bourbon appearing in media. I mean, you take that Jessica Jones series, and she's always downing. Was it Wild Turkey? I think.
She's pounding bourbon.
Yeah. I mean, she's always got bourbon. It's very prominent. So I mean, it's definitely a thing that I think the entertainment industry is realizing, like, hey, bourbon is booming right now. It's popular. People like to see it. People feel comfortable seeing it. So let's put it in there as much as we can. And we've been very, very cognizant about that as well. And I think going forward, whenever we can kind of, even if it's not just in your face about it, but just like, oh yeah, there's some bourbon on the table. It's just kind of our little nod to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, real cool. Gentlemen, you have any other last questions to round it out for Josh here before we kind of move on to the next segment?
No, sir.
Looking forward to seeing the movie.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing it.
Thanks so much for letting me chat with you guys.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for coming on, Josh.
Yeah, thanks. I'll hang around.
I was going to say, feel free to hang around and jump in.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, if at some point something strikes out at you, feel free to jump back in. But again, Josh, thank you again for coming on and telling us about Bullitt County. So as he had mentioned, make sure you go. It'll check it out in theaters starting Friday this week, the 26th. So go and check it out. And I can't wait to see it. I think it's going to be really, really cool. So another thing, and just kind of, I guess you could say, pop culture that happened this week was the $1 billion lottery that nobody won. And now this week it's going to be at $1.6 billion. I have a theory that if somebody with inside the bourbon community wins this, it's just going to be bad news just for the secondary market in general.
Literally every bottle will be gone for the next 6 months.
There's just going to be like careless buy it nows. Like it doesn't even matter what the price is anymore. And so any other theories on what could possibly happen if somebody in the bourbon community was to win this $1.6 billion?
There's going to be definitely a distillery be started, by that.
Oh, hell no. What would happen is somebody would go to a Mark Brown from Buffalo Trace and bring a fucking briefcase of money and say, I want that warehouse, I want that warehouse, I want that warehouse. And he says no, and then you put up another briefcase of money, like, I want that warehouse, I want that warehouse. That's what I would do. I would not build a distillery, I would not buy brands. I would go and buy warehouses filled with stocks 8 years and older. Because, oh my God, you could own whiskey after that. And no, you could just drink it. So
I would just get the large straw and put it straight into the barrel.
The whiskey, right? Like you would own it in a figurative sense, and literally you would own it.
Yeah, you would own it.
It's a good leap term.
I mean, let's think about the most in demand bourbons. The majority of them are coming from Buffalo Trace, and
100%.
And that's for good reason. I mean, as much as we like to, talk about the problems with the secondary market and how we can't ever get Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. Fact is, it's really great whiskey. And so if I win that lottery, first of all, I'm hiring a lawyer, and I'm not doing anything. No one's ever going to know about it, but lawyers have that damn confidentiality clause that they take to death. And the lawyer will do all my bidding, and it'll probably be Brian.
I was going to say, there you go.
And Brian's going to tell us, guaranteed, he can't keep it. His secret is not safe on the round table. We'll get more bourbons in him all of a sudden.
Anybody else? What would you do if you won the 1.6 million? And you had something with bourbon. Like, would you say like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to find every wax drip Van Winkle or A.H. Hirsch? Or
I've actually thought about real quick. I would visit somebody that is prominent on secondary sites. I would actually visit his house and go look at everything in his basement and probably write him a check.
Buy collections.
So what's it going to take for the entire thing? Well, that's what I was thinking. Do like a bar somewhere, and then you could just do everything. You know, buy up collections. Well, I guess you couldn't own the warehouses too, because you couldn't be in multiple tiers. But
everybody went through rules about Jack Rose's.
Yeah, I was going to say build Jack Rose's part 2 just to your tailoring. That'd be awesome.
Blake Rose's sounds like a really cool bar.
Now, how do you spell that, Blake? To be, you know,
it's kind of like
R-O-Z-E-S.
Chris. Yeah. You know, it's kind of like Roots Chris, where you hyphenate.
It's kind of like starting a website named after a very famous hotel.
But they have nothing to do with each other. Just to be clear, TM.
But no, I mean, there's a lot of people on here that are talking about I put it in there. I said, if you had 1.6 billion to do with bourbon, what would you do? And some people were following suit. They said I'd open up a bourbon bar and I'd buy out private collections and kind of stock it with that. Bourbon Blind said he said I'd actually build warehouses like Fred talked about, but I'd go around just buying truckloads of bourbon from different places, and then. And I guess at that point, you own it. You could blend it. You could do whatever you wanted to try to figure out something new. And the fun thing is you don't even have to sell a bottle if you don't want.
Yeah,
you could just do private picks with all your friends, and then they're the only ones that can buy it.
You see, Rob McCarthy said, "Get a new wife who doesn't complain about all the bourbon I
have." I was going to read that one out loud.
That's perfect.
Wrong.
I actually missed that one, but that's hilarious. But would anybody else, would you actually buy a distillery to be able to do it? And that's what Matt Cusick said. He'd buy a distillery and create a brand, name himself the master distiller, and then pay himself to tell the same story and sign bottles for the rest of his life.
I kind of like that idea.
A distillery sounds like so much work, though. Like,
I'll name it Bullitt County.
You have to do the hard part. Like, I want to do the easy part where I just taste it and say, yeah, put that in a bottle.
Yep.
Oh, I've got it now, you know, because everyone in the distilling business likes to say they were the first. You can say you were the first master distiller to win the lottery.
There you go.
You know, so that's
the first billionaire master distiller.
There you go.
Distiller.
Mm-hmm.
There's a goal.
And your grandpa actually had the same recipe. That's the best part.
I'm a billionaire. I never even sold a single bottle. It's like, how'd that even work?
I guess the question is, would you have to do a lot of work if you bought the distillery? I mean, if you have 1.6 billion, do you really?
You could hire someone.
Yeah, you could just buy barrels.
Yeah,
and drink them with a straw.
I think I kind of like. Well, I like that idea. Just get a big barrel in your basement. Boom, put a straw in it. What are you drinking tonight? Whatever in that barrel.
Just put it on tap. You know, just get bourbon on tap, and just put a couple Pappy barrels around, and then a couple Weller Special Reserve, and see if anyone can tell the difference.
Maybe pull another Pappy heist, but do it the right way, and
just buy out the market.
Truckload of cash, drop it off.
But pay them for it.
Yeah, but actually give them money for it instead.
Matt Cusick kind of brought up a good point as well. He said, what would you do about distilleries that just wouldn't sell you barrels, right? And you say, like, I want to go do barrel picks, or I want to have this particular barrel in my inventory. What would you go about doing that? Would you just say, all right, well, I'll just buy you out?
Your dead one has a price tag. It's a business at the end of the day. You know, they know that they don't need to sell it in bulk because they can sell it in their own bottle and make more. If you give them the same price that they would make that way, I doubt many would have a problem with that. But
I think some will do. I think some I feel like BT, Buffalo Trace, I'm sure they've been thrown so many money offers for Pappy that they won't. I don't think they would take it. I don't think Mark Brown would ever take it.
So here's what I would do. I would buy the next closest property and then buy 600 hogs and start a hog farm right there. until their value goes so far down, they come begging to me to fucking buy their barrels.
I'll be knocking on your door.
It'd be like driving through Butchertown.
Yeah.
I like Rare Bird said, I'd make my own magazine and call it Bourbon Plus Plus.
Speaking of trademarks, maybe you'll be partnering with Blake on that one.
Brian's my attorney, so please send all questions to him.
You know, he's my attorney too, so is he going to be the judge as well? I mean,
yeah. He'll work it out in mediation with himself.
Yeah. And charges both double.
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of things that we could think that we want to do with a lot of money if we had it just to blow on bourbon, and hopefully one we'll see. Hopefully on Tuesday or maybe Friday this week we'll see what happens. I can't imagine what would happen on Tuesday if nobody won again. But by the time this comes out, it will be Thursday, so we'll see what happens. But
There you go.
You know,
Is it too late to buy a ticket?
I haven't even bought a ticket.
I can see Trump winning this.
guys, it's Monday. We're recording this on Monday. It doesn't roll till Tuesday, so yes, you still have time to buy a ticket.
Your chance of not buying a ticket and buying a ticket only very slightly increases. Like, I think there's a guy at Georgia Tech, a professor, who basically said you will never win the lottery, but somebody has to win, right?
Might as well be you.
That's what they want you to think.
Mm-hmm.
He's working for the enemy.
The guy also doesn't recommend flu shots and thinks that fluoride's so bad, right?
On this topic of, and Fred, you might be able to answer this, on the topic of what distilleries could you buy out? What distillery is actually owned by the largest corporation that probably has the most money behind it? Diageo is one. We got Beam Suntory. You've got here and what's the biggest one?
I think I would say that the way to approach that is like, what distillery has the most American whiskey interest, or what parent company has the most American whiskey interest? Diageo is obviously the largest, spirits company, but they could give two shits about American whiskey. They focus on Crown Royal heavily, and they focus on heavily Scotch, and for good reason. That's what their company's stronghold is. You've seen Tom Bullitt kind of bust through that company and say, "Hey, look at me! Look what American whiskey can do." And then they started paying attention, and then they brought in Nicole Austin at George Dickel, and she's kind of doing a little bit of that same thing, as finally getting people to pay attention to George Dickel. But I would say that they would not be there when times are bad. That company is the first one to spin something off. They did that in the early '90s with Stitzel-Weller, but back then it was called Old Fitzgerald Distillery, and they spun off all their brands that they got from Glenmore. So they have a history of when times get tough, they get rid of American whiskey. That's the DNA of that company. Beam Suntory is so tightly connected to Jim Beam, but Maker's Mark is kind of is also in the Jim Beam portfolio, but it's on its own island. They don't mess with Maker's Mark, and it's the Maker's Mark from a brand perspective is probably the sexiest brand in the American whiskey category outside of Jack Daniel's to buy. So if anyone was going to really put together a lot of money and go after a brand, it would be them. Another brand that would be kind of a sexy brand and wouldn't necessarily be easy pickings, but would probably have an interested seller if they came with the right pot of cash. It'd be Four Roses. But
I thought you were going to say Pursuit Spirits.
Yeah.
Well,
we can only hope. We can only hope.
I'm told there's already expansion plans and an offer on the table. So,
yep, we're going to double our barrels in one day.
But you're looking at a very difficult question. But if it were speculation and there was all the money in the world and American whiskey was clear that it wasn't going to go away, and you really wanted to make a splash, I would say the two brands you would go after would be Four Roses and Maker's Mark.
Not Heaven Hill with all their portfolio?
Penetrating the Shapira family to sell would be very, very difficult. Getting them to sell off a brand or two, absolutely. But then you're probably getting a brand and not the whiskey. Like maybe maybe they spin off, a brand that's not as close to them. Like they're not going to give up Evan Williams or Elijah Craig. That's sewn into who they are, but I could see them selling something like.
It's a good thing they have like 400 labels.
Yeah. I mean, they could sell a lot of labels off. I mean, one that would make sense to me that they should sell is TW Samuels. I'd love to see that get back in the hands of, the Maker's Mark family, Rob Samuels. I'd love to see them get TW Samuels back. But other than that, there's not like Heaven Hill. I couldn't see Heaven Hill do anything. Sazerac's definitely not letting Buffalo Trace go. 1792 is an interesting, distillery that historically gets kind of moved around a lot, but it's also a, what we would consider to be like an MGP sort of distillery. And by the way, that's another interesting one, the MGP facility in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. But I don't know. What was the question? I'm just going off of like.
I feel like we're just naming them all.
Talking about people.
I think we named all the big 5 or 6.
Well, Wild Turkey's interesting too.
Do we still have viewers?
Yeah. Wild Turkey, we probably don't, by the way. But Wild Turkey is an interesting brand because, I don't feel like Campari has fully reached what Wild Turkey's potential is. And, they were close. And then I don't know what happened. They started changing their labels and their packaging 15 times. And, they're going to have another bottle change here. So they have a lot of inconsistency with marketing Wild Turkey, but I actually think their whiskey's gotten really, really good in the last 5 years.
So I got another kind of question, and I'll sort of throw it out to anybody else that wants to answer too, is, we talked about a lot of these brand names. You say 1792, you say Buffalo Trace, Evan Williams, and a lot of these are just so ingrained by these brands, it's almost become like an identity. And to say that, like, all of a sudden Diageo puts in a bid for 1792, do you really think that you could see some of these big conglomerates actually start poaching brands from other places? And would consumers even care?
That's actually the history. We've seen, so the historical, we've already seen it happen, right? So Smooth Ambler's doing well, Pernod Ricard comes in. High West is doing well, Constellation comes in. And, when you see these smaller brands, Leap Brothers in Colorado would be one that I would say would be on people's radars. Westland for me was like, that was one of the great independent craft distillers, and then they get acquired. Hudson Baby Bourbon, which I know is not anyone's favorite here at this roundtable, but they have built a really incredible brand and had great market penetration. William Grant came in real quickly and got them. So you do see that from time to time. But do you see like the conglomerates come in and pluck a big brand from another one? Yeah, I mean, it happens.
Yeah, I think the thing that I was really going for is Matt kind of said, he goes, it happens in the 80s and 90s, but would you expect it to actually happen today with as big as bourbon's being and a lot of these brands being that identity? Could you actually see that happening today?
I don't, because people are going to capitalize on what they have right now. I mean, they're not selling right now. They might,
too hot.
if they,
I think it's too hot right now.
Yeah, if they see maybe it's starting to downtrend, and they might, but not right now. I mean, it's they just got too much upside right now to sell.
I don't know. I don't see it any different than professional league sports. You trade a superstar, you buy a superstar. It could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if it is at its peak, the end is, it's going to go down the hill at some point. So why not do it when it's at its peak?
Very true.
Well, people have been trying to buy Four Roses for a while, so that was one. That was a brand that I thought could really get purchased, when the tariffs started coming in, because they were very vulnerable, to tariffs. And, there was a big rumor that they were about to be bought by Constellation a while back. And I did some digging, and there was no offer on the table. There was nothing. And basically it was business as usual. But, Four Roses is one where if it's going to happen, like if someone's going to amass a treasure chest of money and they're going to go after a big brand, it's going to be Four Roses.
So is it Kieran that holds them right now?
Yeah, Kieran's owned them since the early 2000s.
It makes it weird though.
I would say if they were to let them go, then Kieran would be closing a lot of doors for their spirits portfolio because Four Roses sure does open a lot of doors.
All right, so let's go ahead and let's switch gears to something maybe a little more fun because Kerry, as we had mentioned, came out with he's actually a blogger once again. He actually does have has an article, so he technically is able to live up to his title. And this article that he kind of came out with was talking about inside of the mind of a bourbon fanatic. And so, Kerry, I kind of want to let you talk about this, and we'll kind of talk about our own stories behind each one of these things as well.
Yeah, I think the desire to create this article came from me just being tired of us always disagreeing on everything. I think when you look at the hobby in general, everybody disagrees on what's overrated or what's too expensive or what's good or what's not good, and we always talk about the things we disagree on. But there's so much that we have similar that I felt like and this just comes from whenever I'm hanging out and we're talking, we're like, man, I can't believe I did so and so. I think it's just kind of a fun article where we kind of realize there's idiosyncrasies that we have as bourbon, hobbyists, and just kind of thought about them and wrote them down. That actually took me a month to kind of come back into the article and back into it with more ideas. But yeah, it's just a fun little article of stuff that we all kind of do together, I think.
I got to tell you, I really appreciate that, Kerry. And let me tell you why. As you all know, I get tagged in a lot of stuff, and I write, I talk, I'm always doing something, and I get a lot of support, but man, I get a lot of the other side of stuff, and I am all about a good disagreement and hashing it out. But I mean, I've been in some forums where people. Actually, a forum I wasn't in, someone made a veiled threat against my son. And people in bourbon can get really fucking nasty. And I don't know if that's bourbon or if it's the internet or what. But, we have got to find a way to bring the spirit back, to bring that joy back and find those commonalities. And frankly, that story that you wrote, I mean, it could really be, something that sparks it.
I hope so. That's kind of the goal, is to make us all realize at the end of the day, we all love bourbon.
I saw myself in every single one of them, Kerry.
I know, right?
Well, so for anybody that's listening, let's all choose one and kind of talk about what it relates to you, because I'll tell you this one as well, because I think it was where was it? Number 8. So your wife orders 2 boxes from Amazon. One box is small, so you recycle it. The other box could easily fit 2 bottles of bourbon for shipping, so you take it down to the basement or put it in the garage. I've got an amass.
I literally did this yesterday.
I've got like a pyramid, like it's a tower of cardboard in my basement right now, and I'm just waiting for it. Basically, when the new year hits, if I haven't gotten rid of it, then I throw it all away, and then I start over again when the new year hits. So it's sort of my my yearly ritual of purging of old shipping boxes. But yeah, you see a good box and you're like, well, that's actually it's vertical. It's not horizontal. Like that's a good one. You're not gonna hear the glug go. That's a keeper.
Yeah, your significant other will eventually start finding them for you. And they'll say, hey, you want to keep this box for your booze? Yeah, actually, I do. That's a great box.
Anybody else have one they want to relate to?
Yeah, I think for me, it was was it 3? Yeah, it was number 3. So you go to a new restaurant, right, with your loved one, and they're getting seated, and you're like just scanning the bar. That's it.
Yeah.
First, all right, let's look at the bar, right? You don't even go to your seat. Totally hits home.
I'm number 3 as well. In fact, my wife, we just sit at the bar. But she also,
there you go.
She also likes, but we've been married for 11 years, so it's kind of, now it's over. It's just like sit at the bar or get the really good seat in the corner where our back's against the wall and I can see the bar. So I like watching the bartenders work. I like seeing how they shake and stir, and and how they pour their beers. It's kind of, to me, that's to me the bartenders are the first line of defense against stupid. in this world. So I really enjoy watching them work. But yeah, I'm definitely number 3.
Now, another question with that is how many times do you guys actually, because we'll all do that, but then you'll open up the menu, you'll look through the bourbon list, and you'll go, I've already got all these at home. I'm just going to pour a cocktail.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. There's like, I'm not paying 15 for Eagle Rare. Ugh, no way. But then you're ordering it.
Well, that's what I liked about, I don't remember what number it was, but about the beach vacation. I'll have this discussion. My wife's like, do you really need to bring 15 bottles? We're going to be there for 3 days. I'm like, well, I don't know what I want to drink. There's other people. They may want to try some stuff. Right. And who knows? Maybe there's an impromptu bourbon tasting that I need to host.
I'll give everybody an update for that. So it's number 11 is beach vacations are tough for bourbon guys. We need to bring enough bourbon that we don't get stuck with just 1 or 2 bottles. Significant others, please don't get mad when you see how many we end up actually bringing.
I'm definitely going this.
My clothes bag,
Friday.
My clothes bag and my bourbon bag.
1 bottle per day is like a good kind of rule of thumb. But I just want to mention the number 2, and I'll read this one. You take a wrong turn on the way to the farmer's market or some new trendy restaurant, and you go through a very seedy area of town. Your significant other is anxious for you to find your way out, but you're too busy looking side to side for the worst looking liquor store you can spot until you map out a return trip. So this happened to my wife and I. We went to the DeKalb Farmers Market, which is kind of on the other end of town. And I don't know how I took the wrong turn, but I was in a bad area. But man, I was so happy, just looking around side to side. My wife was screaming at me to turn on ways and get out of there. And I was just, she's like, stop looking at liquor stores. I'm like, yeah, but look how nasty it looks. There are dusty bourbons in there. And I mapped out a couple spots. I never made it back over there, but she was so pissed at me for that.
So I'm packing for the beach on Friday, and I think 6 is a good number because that's what you can fit in a bottle tote bag.
Yeah.
You know, so that's,
explain. Read off 6 so people can hear it.
I use the Bourbon Pursuit bag everywhere I go on my trips. It's a
nice
little 6-bottle holder that I use. It's awesome.
It is a good bag.
But yeah,
Ryan, read off 6 so people know it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I went there Labor Day, and we were going through this. So number 6 is you have a planned family trip to DC. Everyone else is planning the sequence of museums you will visit, but you are too busy figure out when you'll hit Jack Rose. So I literally was doing this Labor Day, and like U of L was playing Alabama, and they're like, we really want to watch the game. And I was like, well, Jack Rose has TVs upstairs that you can go watch the game, and we can go downstairs. And so I did that.
Rose, when we went to DC, I was not as impressed as other people are with it. You know, I feel like when you have an
amazing, it doesn't surprise me.
When you have an amazing selection like that, where bottles are still there, you know, then you look at the price list and you're like, okay, so this is why everything is still here.
I think there is also one that you're missing on here, and it's because of being in this. We get a lot of emails that say, hey, I'm planning a trip to Bourbon Country, planning a trip to Bar Sound, wherever. I'd love to have some ideas. We plan on going to here, and hopefully we're going to go to Bullitt, and maybe something will get dropped. That's always in there, is like, I hope something will drop at Bullitt on,
and it never does.
And it never does.
It never does. It's in there saying they were going to
get the 4-year rye every time.
Which I just got today from somebody brought back from Kentucky, the 4-year rye. I'm actually excited about it. I think it'll be good.
Which was another one that you had on here was number 4, is that a friend mentions that they have a work trip in Kentucky next week. And your first 2 thoughts are they driving, and how close to Bardstown will they be?
Yeah, just happened. I wrote that one 2 months ago. Literally just happened with a friend like this week. I was like, you're driving? He said, yeah. I was like, yes. Awesome.
Perfect. Are you willing to make 25 stops on your route there?
Blake, I love your idea of having an impromptu bottle tasting. I think the same thing all the time.
You just never know.
I'm like, you never know. Somebody might somebody random. They want to try 6 different bourbons.
You might want to bring 2 tote bags.
I did that at Disney once. Fun.
Yeah, just post up in Disney.
Yeah.
Inside Disney or at the hotel? Like,
it's just Snow White.
It was in a bar. It was in a bar. Somebody there, like, they had my book on the bar, and I was like, yeah, that's my book, and we just did an impromptu tasting.
Like, all right, come on, bourbon guy, tell us something about it.
Yeah, there was a whole crowd kind of gathered, and we just
tell us about them making bourbons.
That was fun. It was a can't remember the name of the bar. It was like Abracadabra or something.
It is Disney after all.
Well, because there's a few at Disney Springs that have a fairly decent selection, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Disney Springs
do an
creeps
episode
me
on
out.
that because I'm about to go to Disney in like a year. I need like all my hot spots.
Hey, I
Disney Trail.
love Disney. I love Disney. We take the. We're going back next year. It's great. No, this isn't a Disney podcast, though.
Yeah, Kenny's getting pissed.
I know. He's already. Brian, have you seen the text he sent me? Man.
Hey,
I know he's like, shut up and move on.
Hey, if Disney wants to sponsor this, we'll talk about Disney for 30 minutes every single episode.
Well, didn't they try to? Can we
Be
talk
like, get
about
Jim
that?
Gavin
Didn't they try
on
to
here.
do their own trail?
Oh yeah, I've got some insider stuff on that. They got a little bit of legal wrangling on that. They got a cease and desist from the KDA on the use of the Bourbon Trail, so it went away.
Well, thanks a lot, KDA. I was trying to get some free Disney tickets out of that.
I'll say this: they had every right to, because it looked like they just copied and pasted the freaking map. It was like,
no lie, they basically just took the Bourbon passport from the Bourbon Trail and like. It was basically me and Microsoft Paint taking out the KDA logos and putting
it was bad.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna wrap up this show, but we're gonna do one last little piece right here because we got to give Fred a little bit of a plug here because one thing about Bourbon Plus in his new magazine is that they don't do reviews, they don't do scores, they don't give best whiskey of the year. However, Fred does do a little bit of rating on the side. And he just gave his lowest score of all time to a whiskey, which makes Trey Zoller from Jefferson's probably very happy because I believe he had it before then. So, Fred,
no, Trey didn't have it before.
Oh, he didn't? Okay, I must have been confused then.
No, he. I've given Jefferson some low scores, but no, this.
But we love Trey. We love Jefferson. So
I just saw Trey walking my dog today. He's very nice.
Jefferson's has a.
Trey was
they
walking
have a nice
your dog.
portfolio. They have a nice portfolio.
We live in the same neighborhood. Sorry.
The thing about Jefferson's is that they're doing so many barrel finishes and everything, and my palate. I mean, if you follow my work, my palate doesn't always gravitate toward those barrel finishes. I mean, I'm going to rate things how that appeal to me, and I'm going to write my tasting notes. And I've had people tell me that your tasting notes are spot on for the barrel finish, but your score was low. I was like, well, it's my score. So I mean, what do you mean? You want to do my score for me? I mean, that's not how this works. But anyway, so that award, the lowest score I've ever given was just a 48. Right, and it was on Forbes, and it was to OZ Tyler, which is distilled in Owensboro, and it uses the the Terra Cincha process, Terra Pure, in the rapid aging. And look, I've always believed that if there's a product that comes out and is tasty, that uses that stuff, I mean, I will be on the rooftops talking about it. So this is nothing personal or anything, but I seriously did get, melted plastic in this. I seriously nosed that. That came off. That was the aroma coming out of the whiskey to my nose, and I got drywall, and it went downhill from there. So it was just not a good whiskey in any way, shape, or form. And so I've got It was weird for me because in past things I've done reviews for or the people I've done that stuff for before, they had a policy that you couldn't publish it after a certain score. Forbes did not put that upon me. I could have had put in however I rated it, and they were fine with it. So I think a lot can be said for Forbes for allowing me to do that, but
I know now not to send you any Pursuit series.
So would Bleach be like an 8 on your scale then? If this was a 48,
Well, I would if I got like that kind of nose, like, so there was not it was not poison. It was not anything like that. I mean, you could drink it, you could drink it, and you could mix it with Coke or whatever to kind of strip out some of that, some of those unwanted flavors. But I have been sent things that I thought were poisonous, and I didn't even taste it. I smelled it, and I could pick up like the tails real heavy, and I just put it away. And that was when I was reviewing for a tasting panel, and you didn't really, you don't really see scores in that magazine lower than 80.
So I do have I have a question for you, Fred. Do you, and I'm really curious too, especially with this low score. So do you have like a rating chart that shows like the characteristics that would land a bourbon and say like, the 20 to 40 range, 40 to 60, or even like sub ranges like that? I'm always curious about stuff like that.
Well, some of it too is like I have generally falling into the rating system of the people I've worked for when it comes to rating them. And I've always, when I was doing it very minimally on my blog, I had something similar to that.
Okay.
And at the moment, I don't have that on Forbes, but I would say that that's a good idea. I think that's worthwhile doing. And in everything that I've done in my past, I've tried to cling on to having it meet a certain criteria. Like in San Francisco World Spirits Competition, like a bronze basically just means it's it's palatable. It's of the category. It's not, you're supposed to judge it by the glass, not to the glass next to it. So you judge it by the glass. So this would not have meddled if we were at San Francisco.
Gotcha.
And Whiskey Advocate, they publish their what their scores mean in their magazine, and you can look through issues and you can see what they think. Their tasting panel, the same thing. But Whiskey Magazine, they do the same as well. So most people do put that out there. But with Forbes, this is kind of a trial for me. I'm not certain where things are going to go, because I've got some other review oriented things I've got in the pipeline, and I've got to figure out how I want to move forward with doing my reviews, since I'm so my magazine, we don't want to do reviews, and I'm going to be pretty steadfast. I think I just spilled something. This magazine is about the culture and the science, and a lot of the cool stuff that you guys put up on like Breaking Bourbon, like showing like chemical charts and everything. Like we're gonna do stuff like that, and reviews kind of take away from that type of writing, and because all anyone does is focus on the reviews and not the in-depth story that we are about to do on Metallica and Dave Pickerel. So, and I want people reading that versus just flipping to the reviews and seeing what the highest score was and then saying, "Fuck you, Fred, I can't get that bottle." So you can say "fuck you, Fred" to the Forbes reviews.
All right. So with that, that's going to be every opportunity to go out there and you can buy yourself like a 50 ml or what do people call it? Like airplane bottles. Some people call them nippers. I don't know really what people are calling, but go ahead, spend $1 or $2 on them and see if you see if Fred's right, or see if you think see if it's okay. Because coming from a technology background myself, I wasn't excited, but it was very like optimistic to see if it would actually stand up to the hype or to whatever it is, to see if it actually could compete with actual pristine true age type of bourbon. But with that, let's go ahead and close out this show tonight. So I want to say thank you again for everybody that came on, and again thank you to Josh, the producer behind Bullitt County, for coming in as well. And, I want to go ahead and say, for fellas, go ahead and go around the table one more time. And Carrie, since, we kind of led off with you, we're going to lead off with you again here as well.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. It's always fun. And thank you, Kenny and Ryan, Fred, for all your work on the podcasts. I know they're highly entertaining, and a lot of people like listening to them. So thank you, guys. This is Carrie from Suburbia, SUBOURBIA.com. Follow me on Twitter at @bourbon_gamer.
375 days till next article.
Start using that Evernote or your notes on iPhone now.
I imagine like behind his computer, it's like, when they have like a work safety like issue, it's like 10 days since accident. It's like so many days since last article, and it works up to.
Love it.
All right, Jordan, go ahead.
Sure. This is Jordan, one of the three guys from Breaking Bourbon. You can find us on all the social media platforms at Breaking Bourbon. Similar to Bourbon Pursuit and those guys, our first Breaking Bourbon barrel picks coming out. So if you're interested in that, check out both of those two Patreon sites for Bourbon Pursuit and Breaking Bourbon. And also check us out for our daily calendar updates.
Awesome. What's your next date?
I don't know. We're going to take a little break for a bit, but then we'll start back up in 2019.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Blake.
Am I up? All right. I'm Blake from Bourboner.com. Find me at Bourboner.com on the Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Check out now, I forgot to plug this earlier, but both the Pappy Van Winkle and the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection release maps are now live. So updating those as they come in. So if you're interested, check them out. And actually, Buffalo Trace launched this new thing. If you complain in the comment section about how nobody's able to get these priced or get these bottles, or everyone gouges, they're going to send you a free bottle. So go ahead, put your comment in there, because they read them all. They're happy to read them and go through them. And
that was satire, everybody. That's
I'm about to say I was going to call out like 90 stores tonight. I'm like, yeah.
Yes,
6 years running. It's the exact same comments.
We need to go over some legal things.
Blake, we're going to need you to stay after the podcast tonight.
But also I want to say, Fred and Ryan, thanks for joining on today. This was also the launch for Ryan and my Pursuit Series label. So very excited to kind of see that happen. And as Jordan hinted at as well, barrel picks, we've got a lot rolling out. All of us have a lot of barrel picks that we're doing. And so we're going to figure out the next time we're going to get the internet friends.
Yeah, let's
happening soon.
Yeah.
So we're gonna make that.
I think we should do an episode, Kenny, of our Pursuit Series with everyone.
Hey, I could interview you too.
Hey, we'll take it.
We'll take it.
Fucking hammer you.
Not going easy on you either.
I know.
I'm not coming now.
I thought we were friends here.
Yeah.
I treat my friends even better than my sources.
But again, thank you, everybody. If you do like what you hear, support the show on Patreon. That's where you get access to Barrel Picks Pursuit Series, limited edition T-shirts and koozies and hats and everything else that we do. And yeah, also leave reviews. Ryan, go ahead and close us out.
Thanks, guys, again for joining us. This is one of my favorite things to do, and I think one of our community's favorite things to do is listen. I don't know why they listen to us talk about bourbon, but I'm glad they do. And appreciate you all taking the time, because I know we all have families and real obligations and one article a year to write. So, but
it's going to be all about you, Ryan.
I know. I can't wait. In Bullitt County.
And Bullitt.
But thanks for everyone that's watching. And if you have any, show suggestions, comments, feedback, we love hearing from you guys, because this is what we do it for, is for you all. So just keep them coming, and we'll keep bringing you the content. Or Kenny will, and I'll just show up.
That's about right.
All right, fellas, I'm going to go watch the Falcons game.
Cheers, everyone. Oh, yeah. So, Carrie, I hope you know everything's in playful banter, buddy. We love you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even think I got it worse than...
Yeah, hold on. I saw a comment about Carrie getting it. I'm like, I didn't even feel like it was that bad.
What did someone say about Carrie? I thought it was nice.
They said...
They were yelling at you, Fred, in chat. They said you were tearing me up in chat.
What?
Well, yeah, because everything I said, you're like, listen, this is a legality. Don't go too far.
that was blank for sure.
This is a legality.
How did you see in chat? How do you see that?
I put it in the so the group chat here. Here, I'll post it in here.
You have to pull up the YouTube chat.
So if you're in the group chat, then I post a link to the actual YouTube chat where you can see the 47 people that are talking right now, and all the shit they're talking about us is at the same exact time. So,
Carrie,
how about that?
But at the same time, I would say that whoever Mustang's KY47 is, I'm going to come after you because he goes, Fred needs his own podcast. He's better than everybody else here.
Oh, 100%. I totally agree.
Yeah, go ahead. That's fine.
Guys, you have no idea how hard it is for me to turn on a fucking microphone.
Yeah, they didn't see the
pre-roll.
I fucking hate this technology shit. I would still be working on typewriters if I could. Wow, there are a lot of comments here.
Yeah,
that sounds like right.
Falcons, it's been fun. We'll see you next time.
See you later, Carrie.
See you, Carrie.
See ya.
And I got to go do job costing for a client. So
I don't know what that means.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
I just poured myself like another huge guy, so I'm gonna stick around for a minute.
45 ounces.
Nice.
Yeah.
We need some more sample bottles, Kenny.
Ooh, I could totally sell some bourbon bred pigs. That'd be awesome.
Fred's 30 minutes late on it. Well, that's where I thought you were going with the pig farm at first. I'm like, okay, he's going to take the slop and just, say these are all Pappy Van Winkle pigs. But, took it the other direction.
Pappy Bacon, man.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, I'm out of here. See y'all.
All right,
see ya.
Yeah.
Can I pick up any of that stuff from K&L Wines?
No, I haven't yet.
Still on there, amazingly.
Well, the problem is that so all these I got to make sure I say it correctly because I always feel like I fuck it up. Is El Cantonada?
I'm not even saying it because I know I'm gonna fuck it up. So
El Cantada. I don't know. But anyway, it's like you it's like a problem with really expensive bourbon. Well, the thing is, really expensive bourbon is that it either stays in value or never depreciates or appreciates in value.
Yeah.
However, with all this new Armagnac that's coming out, there's not a bottle that's less than $150. And if you blow a lot of money on it, you're like, God, I hope I like it. You have no idea. Yeah. And I wish honestly I could get a few guys together and just buy a few bottles of this stuff and figure out which one's good and then buy more bottles. But I'll
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean,
I want a little blind. I mean, Skew is the one who dropped that knowledge in that Facebook group. So I was like, well, if he's saying get excited, I'm like, I'll take a blind faith on that one. Mm-hmm. So fingers crossed, it's good. We'll see.
So is Skew starting to head towards the yak days now and getting out of all the bourbon stuff?
He's been hard on brandy for a while. He's been running that Facebook group hard for the last year. It's really, I know Blake's in it too. It's really interesting. Learn a ton of stuff.
Yeah, you just added me to it, so
yeah, I did.
This is really cool. I had no idea there was all this chatting going on.
That's hilarious. I didn't. Yeah. It took me about 10 community roundtables too, Fred, to figure that out.
Oh, I forgot to even mention it that we were on our 25th recording. What's a 25th wedding anniversary gift? I didn't even think of it.
Is that a watch?
Silver? Is that silver?
Not
all right.
So yeah, it's silver.
Why don't you we'll just send us all a plaque. We'll look for it.
Yeah. I'll let you know.
Pen.
Yeah, I'll let you know
our budget.
I'll let you know when the money rolls in to send everybody plaques.
Hey, Jordan, are you really going to go see the movie?
Me?
Yeah, the Bullitt County thing.
Might as well.
Yeah, I'll stream it. Well, yeah, I'll stream it.
Figure it out.
Wait till it comes out.
Wait till the Rotten Tomato view has come out. Is that what you're going to wait for?
Yeah.
No, I mean, if it's what 8 cities, so
keep your eyes peeled for a big announcement. Oh, you already saw it. You were on that thing. Yeah. All right.
He's on the email thread. Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it.
I'm fucking nervous about tomorrow.
You'll be all right.
You need me to come with you?
If you want to come to the press conference, that'd be great.
What time is the press conference, by the way?
3:00 at Peerless. If you want to go.
Oh, cool.
Let's see what I got going on.
If you can make it, that'd be great. It wouldn't be bad. I mean, the mayor will be talking. And
I actually can probably make tomorrow, 3:00.
I could probably make it too.
Nice.
Because I can't make the launch party. I'm not gonna be able to be here for that.
Yeah, no, that's cool. But
when's the launch party?
6 o'clock.
When?
Tomorrow, 6 o'clock.
Oh, I must miss that invite. I didn't make
No,
the list.
Look, you know what's funny? It went out on paperless post. And Jordan, you should have gotten one too.
It's got lost in the mail.
A lot of people didn't. They got bounced by a lot of people. You know, I guess they really wanted to be fancy, and like this paperless post thing has got like this really nice card, and you clicked on it, had your name, it was all fancy.
I get those from Old Forester, but not Bourbon Plus.
Yeah, it went through. It must have got blocked. So either that or my publisher took you off because he doesn't fucking like you. But
yeah, it's probably a good chance of that.
Yeah.
But if you
Ryan, you should go if you can make it, man.
Tomorrow at 6. There's no chance tomorrow at 6, but I can do the 3.
Yeah. Omni rooftop party.
Man, that would be awesome.
I know.
But you know what? You can come. You can come anytime.
I'll just bring the twins.
It doesn't have to be at 6.
What do you think? Me bring the twins?
I wouldn't care.
No,
I wouldn't care one bit.
The other guest might though.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah. No, it's what. So tomorrow's my daughter's 5th birthday, so I was like, I feel a little bit obligated to hang out with her because we were looking through the pictures. I think I was in Austria this time last year and missed her 4th birthday. So, yeah, well, it was her 4th birthday. The 5th she might actually remember.
Father of the Year.
Hey, you know my son's turning 5 in December, so we can start talking about betrothing him.
I don't know about that. She's already hot and heavy for somebody else. That
wow. At daycare.
I'm dead serious. Like I don't know anybody else that has kids, but man alive, it's like she's got this boyfriend Owen that they've been head over heels for each other for the past like a year and a half, and they're constantly hanging around.
Where does she go to school?
Well, I'm not going to say it while we're live on air. I don't want people to know where my kids go to school. So.
Yeah. Seriously, that shit will bite you, man. Somebody whose kid goes to school with mine, and I mentioned that Vel threat. There was this whole thing about following me at my son's like daycare in one of the Bourbon forums, and it was fucking disgusting. And fortunately, people shut that shit down. But you're smart to be safe on that. I forget that their people are still on this.
47 people actually. Well, because
shit.
They're probably still waiting because the one thing we used to do back in the day is we would always end this because we actually be.
Are they still chatting?
There's a few people, but we usually be pretty toasted at this point.
Yep.
And we just start giving away. We start just giving away free shit. We'd be like, all right, we're gonna ask random bourbon questions.
But did they ever get the samples
before Christmas? We sent out our stuff.
I'm sure Terry did.
Yeah, I sent out my stuff, but yeah, I was like, oh man, I'm running out of sample bottles all the damn time.
All right, flip to page 82 of my magazine. All right, let's see what that is. I'm actually looking at comments now. All right, anybody ask somebody if you have something? All right, 82. Yep. All right, Pittsburgh whiskey friends. All right.
What are we looking at? All we see is your outside of your cover.
So that is one of the areas that we have in the magazine where I commission a writer to write about about a bourbon group in every issue to kind of talk about the camaraderie and stuff. And our first one was on the Pittsburgh whiskey.
There we go.
Yeah. It was. I really like that writer a lot for that one. She has kind of like a voice, like paints pictures with words and so forth. I really like the way she writes and captures personalities in bourbon groups. So hope to keep using.
So Bourbon Blind, that's a pretty good question. And we're not going to put this in, but he said, anybody tried the 1910 yet?
Yeah.
We just got done. We wrapped up recording with Jackie Zykin of Old Forester. And that was the first time Ryan and I got to sit there and try it. Well, Fred's flaunting his samples in front of us.
Fred's just on Old Forester campus the other day. Where's my free bottles?
he's pulling the president to the side, be like, you got all those like that case of birthday bourbon for me? You got to hold in the back.
Here's the thing: is like this wasn't for me. This was for my wife.
I know, we're just messing with you, man.
No, well, you know the story where my son was born. I broke the fucking bottle, and he was like, "I've got a bottle for you, Fred. Don't worry about it." And my wife's been on my ass for this bottle of birthday bourbon, because she knew how much I liked it. And so that was really, Campbell Brown was actually saving me from my wife kicking my ass. But yeah, guys, I'm just my first taste on this. I was very unimpressed with 1910. I mean, I don't know.
Really, I thought it was.
This is the most.
I thought it was almost just as good, or if not better, than 1920. I thought it had a lot more.
This is the most exciting, readily available bourbon that I've had in a long time. I can just say that. Yeah.
I think what you should do, you should try the 1920 next to it, and you'll kind of get appreciation for it, because the 1920 is kind of like it's the enthusiast like go-to. They go nuts over it. So if you can try them side by side, and you're like, well, maybe this is actually, it's a little bit different. Because at least for me personally, I've got a little bit more of I lean towards this sort of like butterscotchy, very vanilla caramel kind of notes, rather than anything that's more leather or tannic or anything like that. And that's what I get more out of what they did there, because it's another double-barreled bourbon. Like, it's not new by any means, but I thought it was pretty damn good.
I feel like I can taste a lot more alcohol in it, and it's a lower alcohol. It's 93 proof.
You should have had it when we had all the pineapple smell in the background.
Yeah, the dehydrator going.
Yeah, so Jordan, we weren't there, and nobody else was, but we were sitting there recording, and Jackie had this dehydrator, this big thing in the background, and she had all these pineapple slices.
Yeah, that's what you expected of.
So she was dehydrated. The whole room smelled like pineapples, and so we were like, oh fuck, it smells delicious in here. But yeah, I mean, we tried the 1910 actually after the it was before the 1920, and I went back and forth, and I was like, I think I like the 1910 more, but it could have just been the moment, whatever it was, but need to go back and try it again. But I honestly like it
never trust your judgment of something you taste inside a distillery.
With the pineapple dehydrator going.
With the pineapple dehydrator going, and the master taster saying, "Oh, you get all that butterscotch, you get all this." I mean, it happens. Sometimes you get really woed in. Like I was at a craft distillery once, and I was just so taken aback by the guy, and I loved the story, and I loved everything. And I'm hearing it, and the stuff is tasting like fucking magic out of the barrel. I get home and I taste it, and it's like I'm chewing on a piece of, dehydrated cow leather. It was fucking awful. I guess leather dehydrated.
Man, you're ruining my enthusiasm for this.
I
kind of liked it. I guess I need to
just reassess it. Hey, and that's great you liked it. I'm not saying don't like it. I'm just telling you my first impression of it is a complete thing.
To me, it was just refreshing, because most stuff that I like now is like barrel proof or high proof, and this was it 94 or 90?
93.
93? Yeah. Oh, I just thought it packed a lot of flavor for a 93 proof. I don't know, it just reminded me of an old Dusty, like Kenny was saying, like had that butterscotchy, old granddad kind of flavors to it. But it might have been the pineapple.
I will tell you this. I will taste it again tomorrow. Because I do have a rule. I never write about my first impression. I always taste it like 3 times, unless I have to do a rapid fast tasting. But I'm not gonna just assess it this time. And plus I've been drinking, barrel Booker's, from 4 or 5 years ago, and some Barbados rum. So. Throughout this entire episode.
I'm out of rum. I need to go get some.
Yeah, you know what? The Kroger in Springhurst has like 3 or 4 cases of Foursquare right now.
Really? All right, because I'm going to Florida Friday. I need some.
Yeah, that's that's really the only place that gets allocations of Foursquare, because the Spirits buyer understands rum. So.
Awesome.
Matt Cusick asks if you've Fred, if you've tried the the Early Times Bottled and Bond.
I have. Yeah, the from when, like the 50s?
No, dude, like the one that just came out, like not like just came out, but maybe
Came out like
9 months ago.
6, 7, 8,
Yeah.
9 months ago, something like that.
Uh,
The blue 1
Blue
liters.
label.
Yeah.
yeah, I may have written a review on it, but it's not coming to my mind right now. I thought you were talking about
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's
I remember when we first got the samples of it and we were trying it, we were like, I know Ryan and I looked at each other, we're like, this is how much a bottle? It was like what, 20, 25,
Yeah.
30 bucks, something like that. We're like,
Yeah, 21 maybe.
yeah, I was like, holy shit, this is actually really good for what it is, for the price tag. I really enjoy it. I mean, I would probably look at that as an everyday thing, and it's also, I think it's only a regional release, if not Kentucky only.
Yep, I didn't review it.
I'm trying to think if I've only bought it in Kentucky, so maybe it is.
I have like 5 or 6 in my
So
basement. They're
yeah,
all
That's good. I mean,
Heaven Hill Bottled and Bond might be fucking, or yeah, the Heaven Hill 6 years fucking gone, but at least Brown Foreman came out with something that it's like, okay,
You know what?
we'll one up you here.
I did have that at Cigar Club. Yeah, I've had it. I mean, it didn't leave.
Yeah, it's not going to leave like an overlay. You're not going to like
it
go
didn't
home and be like, I gotta secure 20 of these.
Yeah, I
But
wasn't.
You're not gonna take a crotch shot of it.
You know what? I'm glad you said that. Oh, who just asked about Ezra? I've got a bottle here. Hold on, let me find the Ezra Brooks. I'll go taste it.
yeah, I haven't seen that around here yet.
just we got our samples in. We need to. It's coming for review soon.
Yeah, I know because I think, who was it? Somebody said they were like Ezra 7. It's sort of like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Junior. And if anybody listened to the last or a few podcasts ago where we talked about or it was the induction ceremony for the Hall of Fame, the president of Luxro comes on there and basically just talks the whole entire time about sourcing from Max Shapira. And you're like, okay, so it basically is like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Jr. at the entire time.
Well, I thought they were only sourcing their weeded bourbons.
The way that it came out of there, it doesn't sound like it, because you need to go back and listen to our own podcast, Ryan.
Were you there?
No, he wasn't there. He wasn't there.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, I thought you said all you do all day is sit around and seed lawns. You should be listening to our podcast if you're not on it.
Yeah, I got so much free time.
No, he was just talking about basically how they source a ton of barrels from Heaven Hill, and they were like, wait, so they charge us to buy it, they charge us to hold it, and then they charge us again when they actually want to bottle it for us. And these are our friends in the industry. So
wasn't Max Shapiro there?
Yeah, it was basically like Max Shapiro's like lead up, like a roast for Max Shapiro.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I totally didn't listen, if you can tell.
So I did find some. Man, my office is a wreck right now. It actually it's finally gotten redone. Boys, we'll have an official studio to broadcast in. It's gonna be pretty.
Can't wait.
But I found this. Someone actually nominated this for the.
Did you find that? I haven't seen that anywhere around town.
Kenny. They sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, found it in his
I forget.
office.
He hasn't paid for a bottle of bourbon since like '95. So
Not true. I spend a lot of money on bourbon. Definitely higher, more than $10,000 a year on bourbon. So I hate it when I do my books. I'm like, fuck, I spent too much money on bourbon. Fuck.
Well, it's either that or give it to the government. So what do you think?
Oh.
because Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, you were gone while we were talking, that this is essentially Elijah Craig Barrel Proof Jr. because they're essentially just sourcing Heaven Hill and bottling it at 7 years.
It's probably a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah, that's accurate. This has got
At a $40 price point too, something like that.
Yeah, this is a contender.
I'll finish mine out with a little more Pursuit Series episode 1.
This has a weird mid palate. This reminds me a little bit of some Booker's. It's far lower in proof than a Booker's, but it has like that kind of like. If anyone's ever had Booker's, it has like this crazy patented cornbread, like a cornbread, buttered cornbread note right in the middle. And this has that. You don't really see that outside of Beam as much, but this is interesting.
Speaking of Bookers, though, as you said that, because Lord knows that Ryan and I aren't going to get any samples, but have you two gotten any of the 30th anniversary that has been talked about?
From Beam?
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Because it seems like that was supposed to come out, then it kind of slipped underneath the radar. I don't know who knows what happened.
Yeah, that there's been no talk about that whatsoever so far after the initial rumblings.
I'm just reading all these comments, man. Everyone's really listening. It's cool.
I know. We saw 50 viewers on. Like we quit.
We're like gaining viewers as we got off air.
Yeah, it's like we quit recording like 20 minutes ago.
Well, the homeless guy went away, and they're like, "Oh, the homeless guy's gone. Okay, let's talk about
Yeah,
it."
I know.
Wait, who's the homeless guy? What was he?
Harry.
Harry.
You see his beard? Like,
Looks like he just
he
day job is begging for money on the side of the road.
Hey,
we'll write blog posts for Bourbon.
Jordan, where do you live?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, nice.
Oh, I thought that's why you were showing the article because he's.
No, but that is cool.
Yeah.
Do you guys have in Pittsburgh? Do you have the people who hold the signs up that say they're, they never go away? They're there on the corner, and they're just scamming money.
Yeah.
Oh, you got a hot spot right in front of you, Fred.
Oh my
God! Your neighborhood.
Yeah, and it bothers me because sometimes they'll have a dog. I'm like, that dog is better fed than mine, and I spent a lot of money on my dog, so fuckers.
And your lawn.
Yeah, you know what? My lawn's coming along. My guy finally seeded it. So, guys, it says Brooks is nice. It's got a little bit of a Booker's kind of some Booker style flavors to it. There's a lot of like,
what's the proof on it?
Cornbread expressions on it. 117 proof.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't taste anything like the Elijah Craig barrel proof products to me. Like Elijah Craig usually has usually very caramelly. This one's not over caramelly. It's got some. It's there, but it's more of a slight hint versus a kind of overpowering note. But this is very pleasing to the palate. I definitely would recommend it.
Well,
you know what?
Go.
That's a pretty nice bottle.
There they go.
Yeah,
Fred.
nice
Thanks a lot.
But this will be in my everyday sipper contenders. Which Kenny, we got to figure out how to fucking do that. I gotta get through this press conference tomorrow.
I was gonna say, why is it on me to figure out the everyday contenders?
I can figure it out.
No, I've got the list, but like the actual tasting, like we're like videoing it and everything. Well, I'm
Oh yeah, that's easy. We'll figure it.
Well, it's easy for you. I can write books. I can't apparently press the on button for a fucking microphone.
That's okay. We all learn at a different pace.
Yeah, those Google Docs are real tricky, Fred.
I shit you not. I sent a Google Doc today to someone in the mayor's office, and they said that the government blocks Google Docs.
That's not surprising, though.
No, that
So what am I supposed to do here? I mean, like, I'm going to send them. I finally
at that point you download it as a docx or a PDF, and then you send it.
But for God's sakes, I finally get up to speed on Google Docs. I write something in Google Docs for the fucking masses who wants everything on fucking Google Docs, and I send it to the person who needs it. Oh, we can't open it on Google Docs. We need an actual attachment. Like whatever. I just copied and pasted.
Just know that you're in the lead. So Jordan, to kind of catch you up here, when we all first started this and we were talking to Fred, we were trying to figure out like our next run of guests,
Yeah.
And he's like, send me the Excel spreadsheet. I was like, no, go to the Google Doc and add whatever you want in there. I was like, we're not going to send shit back and forth. Like, we're not going to do version 1, version 97. It's not going to happen. So, but it's for us, like, I mean, it's Google Docs is awesome. I mean, it's just you have multiple people that can edit at the same exact time. Yeah, it's cool.
like. Yeah, like Kenny and I were doing a conference call on a spreadsheet, and like you could see us both updating it at the same time, like live, which was nice.
So we do everything.
Oh yeah, it makes shit so much better.
Yeah, you should see you should see us when we're editing the BTAC one.
Oh, is it just like four guys just going crazy onto a dock?
Yeah, it's the three of us just pounding away.
Oh, you guys work together like that?
Who, me, Nick, and Eric?
Yeah, like all three at the same time. You're right.
No, not for our reviews. Our reviews are individual. We'll edit, so we go through a series of editing processes. But for the BTAC release, when we do the infograph of the bottle count, yeah, that's a combined effort because that like hits and it's out in 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's a lot of work.
It's called collaboration, man. Seems to work.
I've been a lone wolf for so long. Crazy. Oh my God! People are even commenting on Google Docs. This is crazy.
I don't know. It's a thing. It's a thing. People love it.
Hey, did you get my Above the Chart? Did you listen to it?
Yes, I did. I have not. In all transparency, since Pappy dropped today in Louisville, I've had a few phone calls and shit I've had to deal with. So it's and not only that is my battery in my car died this morning, so I had to get a lot of shit deal with.
Just get rid of that car. Just ditch it.
Oh, I can't, dude. I can't fucking wait to get in my car. But anyway, I had to. Yeah. Well, so, long story short, so when Ryan and I drove down to Memphis to go and pick first few barrels for the Pursuit series, you can't go on a road trip without hitting some sort of turbulence of rain coming down. And since I drive a rear-wheel drive car that's got like 19-inch wheels, this thing, like I knew exactly what was going to happen. I was sitting there gripping onto the wheel when the rain's like hitting hard. Like I know what's going to happen. And every once in a while, like it's fishtails, like it moves. And like I can grip it. I know what's going on. Ryan is like death gripping like everything around to make sure that
attacks.
He thinks he's gonna fall out of the car at this point. Like how much it's moving.
I'm not used to being that close to the ground.
But anyway, so I had to replace the battery in my car this morning. Had to deal with that. I had the launch thing this morning just to kind of get it out on the social and stuff like that. But
yeah,
it was just a lot of stuff going on today.
It was a day.
Yeah, so editing starts tomorrow when this thing is processed, and then I start editing tomorrow, and I'll edit it
there. Did you see Marzipan Fred?
No.
So it was Rob McCarthy. It's an episode of Marzipan Fred.
I've made you famous with Marzipan.
It's true. Hey, you know, it is Ryan that started that.
I know. When he asked me the question, you remember? I looked at him. I was like, "You're a fucking idiot." What are you doing about Marzipan?
I'm telling you, dude, I don't know why I don't come out with a T-shirt that's just it's like brown with like yellow lettering that says like "Got Marzipan."
Listen,
and has a brick on it or something.
I have had so many people tell me to do so many different things, and the fact is, I just don't think about that stuff. I just think about writing and doing stuff. And if you want to come up with a T-shirt and give me the money for it as the proceeds to me, then I would let you. But I'm not going to do the work.
I'll go have a T-shirt.
I just write books, man. I write books. I edit magazines.
I thought you were done with
magazines. Books. Well, I thought I was done with books.
Because he's going to win the lottery this week, and he's like, well, I'm definitely done with books now.
Well, if I win the lottery, I'm sure in the fuck not buying a publishing house. It's like working in the 1950s with publishers.
But that's what you like. You like typewriters and, you know.
I guess that is true. I am like that. But, yeah. So I'm down to 13% battery. Either I plug this in or we say goodbye. If we can keep going, I can keep going. And
all right, 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes.
All right.
2 more minutes.
What was it? I was about to say, yes. Somebody just said the Marzipan Minute with Fred Minnick, and I think that might have been That might have been one of the contenders when we started talking about above the jar.
I actually didn't even really think that anybody thought anything of that, and then I've noticed that
somebody sent, or it was Errato sent me.
He sent a brick of marzipan to us.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes, because we had actually never tried it before. I mean, it's just like a muted marshmallow, a little bit. It's
like nothing.
Yeah, well, it's like a very doughy, muted marshmallow sauce. Almond butter is almond's a better way to put it. Not so much butter, but
yeah.
But that's a good way to put it. But anyway, I was about to say, so maybe January 19, when we get some more help, we can start a swag store and we'll have the marzipan T-shirt up for sale or something like that.
I'd like that. That'd be cool.
I can come up with a bunch of one-liners.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm down for the Ryan. Everybody wants more of Ryan, but you know, you gotta chime in more, buddy.
I don't know anything, so I just sit there.
You don't have to know anything. Just say something.
See, that was I don't know if anybody ever saw. So there was somebody that put a good review on iTunes not too long ago. You know, they called me like the corraler, like the person that kind of puts everything together. And they're like, Fred's the expert, like he knows all the knowledge. And then they're like, Ryan's the guy that we all relate to. And so they're like, that's us at the end of the day.
I'm not kidding. When I go on these interviews, half the time I'm like, my eyes gloss over. Like when they're talking about all these fermentation techniques and all that, I'm like, yeah.
That's fascinating to me because you have such a rich science background.
No, I know. I get all the fermentation. Like the guy from Wilderness Trail, I can geek out with him on yeast. And
that was an awesome episode. You guys were geeking out hard.
Yeah. But when they talk about distilling techniques and all that, that's kind of the engineering processes of it. That's where I kind of lose. I don't know much. So I just sit back and fake it. Like, yeah, you're right. That's a good process.
You got it.
I think you're great, Ryan.
I know.
Keep your chin up. I mean, don't be. You shouldn't beat yourself up. I mean, I know we will beat you up for you, so don't beat yourself up.
Oh, I'm not beating myself up. I'm just.
Well, we love you, man. You gotta just chime in more.
I will. Well, Carrie and you are talking all the time, so.
Yeah, I have a problem. You know?
No, Carrie's the one with the problem because he's been on for I don't know how many roundtables and he still hasn't invested into a goddamn microphone.
When he wins the lottery, though, maybe he'll buy a microphone. Maybe.
Like it's one of those things. I'm about to just send him like a $35 microphone. I'm like, dude, plug this fucking thing in. Like I'm done dealing with your shitty audio. So.
Wow, did you guys see the neck vein there on Kenny?
Oh yeah,
holy crap.
Yeah, at least he stopped doing it on his phone. Right before everything was just like filmed on his phone and he was half drunk sitting in his basement, like lying down on his couch. So I guess we upgraded there. Now he's just like a homeless person instead.
Baby.
Yeah.
Baby.
Somebody just said Carrie can't even afford razors.
It's true.
We are totally like becoming like just some in a fraternity house, sitting around a couch, just drinking and razzing one another.
Did y'all see the bourbon secondary market?
50 people actually listen to it. That's a weird thing.
Did you see that on Facebook? The bourbon secondary, Carrie posted like the old Fitz 14. I think we talked about it before, but some guy was like, "You're screwing people pricing it this way, blah blah blah," and Carrie just wrote back K. It was pretty funny. I thought it was
as in he was selling it too low or something.
No, he said he was screwing it or selling it too high. He was like, I can't believe what'd you pay for this 150 max, and you're trying to sell it for 375. And Carrie just wrote back K. I thought it was pretty funny.
Well, yeah, usually it's the opposite where people have these bottles and they want to sell them, and then you have all these people that are undercutting the market, if you will. And if you have those people that undercut the market, then anybody with them kind of get pissed. So
yeah,
that's the way I would see it.
When it comes to getting some of those hips, I've got like you, Kenny. I've got some sources where I can get them, but they have to think very hard about, do they want to sell it to me at the retail price, or do they want to make that sweet money on that guy that's offering 4 times the amount of the retail price. You know, it's a horrible situation to be in for those guys. You know, and I think they're all assholes for selling them 4 to, you know, if they go over 4 times, I think they're a fucking asshole.
It's different. If we're going to talk about that, we should probably save this for another podcast. I think it's probably some juicy gossip here, but
it's actually a great roundtable.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, dude, you own a business. Like, you got to do what's best for your business. If you think it's better for your business to sit there and reward customers, that's one thing. If you think it's better for your business to sit there and like make an extra, like, what are you going to make? An extra 30 grand, 20 grand, 10 grand, whatever it is, selling these bottles at 4x cost and screwing out your regulars, that's fine. Like,
but it's more than that. They're not, but it's more. So that's the consumer side. There's also the.
No, there went his battery.
Yeah, saved for the next roundtable.
Yeah.
Drop the mic, literally.
All right. I think that's probably a good way to kind of end
wow.
To end it.
Just leave everybody hanging.
I know.
Tune in next time.
All right, fellas.
I'm getting a lot of cheers though in these comments. I like it. I'm just Team Ryan.
Should we all just cut it and you stick around and then you can you can talk to your fans?
They'd probably leave. They'd be like, But dang, Fred, why'd that happen? I was excited to hear.
It's all good.
All right, I'm gonna wrap up, guys.
Yep.
My wife actually just texted me not a minute ago, and she just said, she's like, no one can go to sleep with you talking. So,
mine all didn't have a problem. They're like, see you later.
Good for you. All right.
Okay. All right.
Talk to y'all later.
See you guys next time.
Thank you everybody else that joined in, 45 viewers. Appreciate it. Can't believe you stuck around for an hour after it ended, but
thanks for all the love.
Yep.
See you guys.
See ya.
Until the next one. See y'all later.